day 11 of 30 Days of Sketches, Christy's Beautiful Life. I will show you the sketch. There was a little bit of drama with credit being given on one of the sketches. I'm not putting, to be frank with you, all the various different credits in the various different videos. I'm just expecting, you guys need to go to the Facebook group. Please go there if you want to see who made it. I'm not trying to take credit from anybody, so that's all right. Everybody do what they got to do. But anyway, I'm showing you the sketch and where to go, so you feel free to do that. This is a 2-pager. I'm not going to lie. This is day 11, and I'm doing this the morning of day 11. And I've got a lot going on in life, so I'm going to take the wimpy way out and just do the left-hand side. I've seen a couple people already this morning. That's what they've done. I don't, and some of it's, they say, you know, I don't have enough pictures, which I totally get. Like, I don't have enough pictures. These are teeny little things, and I know I don't have pictures that just that little bit would show, unless I really went digging in some old stuff, and frankly, I just don't have time to do it. So, I'm going to stick on this left side as well, which is 3 3x4s and a couple of 2x2s. And so what I have done is I have pulled out, we did go to Nashville for Christmas, and we went to the little part that, I say little, it's big, obviously, it's the Parthenon. So I've gone ahead and had printed on my selfie some pictures, and then these were printed at 3x4, but I did trim them down. I kind of wish on this one I could have kept a little bit bottom down here, because it showed you how big this thing is. It's ginormous, but this is my daughter in here, so this kind of shows you how ginormous the building is. So that was kind of the point of these. So I'm going to use these photos, and then I pulled out, I'm actually starting a series next month too called Bow Bunny Bash, because I have so much Bow Bunny. I used to buy it like every collection that got released, it seems like. And I decided to pull out, this is called Once Upon a Lifetime Bow Bunny. And it's kind of, it's not kind of, it's a heritage collection. So it's kind of meant for, you know, caption. Well, I'll show you one of the papers I'm not using, but you can kind of get a sense of it. There's like, you know, father and grandfather. And the whole point is like a heritage type deal. And what I decided is, in the sketch, there was kind of this square matted photo here. And I may even double mat this. I'm going to have to look at that. But I'm going to put this in the middle of these, it's like letters, because it's kind of antique-y looking. And to me, this building, it's a fake Parthenon is what it is. It was a recreation for, now I'm sorry, I don't remember. It seemed like it was like 1914 or something. Some kind of like fair they had in the city to celebrate, you know, its creation or something like that. And they built that for like a fair. And then because of the popularity of it, I guess they've rebuilt it and like, you know, made it more permanent. And so then they have art in there, and then that ginormous, this statue here, which is actually gold gilded or whatever. The gold flakes are put all over it. It's kind of neat. I've been there. This is actually my second time. I remember going one other time. I don't remember exactly when it was, but this was the first time with my family. So there was that. And then the photos go across here, and I'm thinking I'm going to use maybe this. I love this wood grain. It's on the back side of a tree. I'm not going to use the tree, obviously. And then I'm thinking there's this paper here. Technically, the stripes are vertical, but I think I might cut out, you know, one of the sets of stripes and use it. And, of course, there's a sticker sheet that I can use for some embellishment-y stuff. And then I have this little set. It was the Noteworthy, and I think I've shoved in some of the little, I don't know what those were called. They're like layered sticker things that they build. That stuff's in there. And then I've got some little buttons and things in here. So I'm going to pull this stuff out and kind of work with it. But for the moment, what I'm going to do is go ahead and get my papers and my photos and stuff ready. And then we'll pull out the goodies in a minute. So I'm going to do that part off camera. Just to kind of keep these videos in a reasonable timeline. And I will come back shortly. Talk soon. So I decided after doing that intro, I would go eat breakfast, and this is what I walked back into. Yep, had to address the cat situation before I could actually start scrapbooking. So what I've done, I did do the prep work a little bit here. I've trimmed everything down, and I did decide to go ahead and mat that blue on a piece of white. Well, let's be real, it's not cardstock. I went into my a paper pad, and I pulled out a pattern that I knew I'd probably never use. It just doesn't speak to me. So, and it was just single-sided, so I flipped the paper over to use the white side. And then I decided to go ahead and scuff the edges of both the blue and the white. And I'll end up scuffing the edges of most things. I'll go ahead and tell you while I'm kind of putting this together. So this Parthenon here, I looked it up because I couldn't remember all the details. I think I said in the intro, I thought it was built in like 1914 or something like that. It was actually built in 1897 as the centerpiece of the Centennial Exposition for Nashville. And what they had done, there was actually a bunch of different buildings that represented bunches of countries and that sort of thing. But the Parthenon was the only one that was an exact reproduction. And it was real popular. Like, people just loved it. And basically, it was just kind of built out of, like, temporary stuff, like plaster and wood and that sort of thing. It wasn't really meant to be permanent. But then, again, the cost to, like, demo it and the popularity and all that, they just left it standing. And then, basically, they went along. And this stuff is at the Parthenon. There's, like, a little timeline. And in 1920, I guess I'm on Wikipedia trying to looking through this right now to remind myself. But in 1920, they decided to go ahead and make it more permanent. So they started working on it and, just, I guess, refurbishing whatever materials were being used there. And then they had to redo, I think the term is freeze. It's all the little, like, what are those called? Like little sculptures or whatever of the what is those darn things called? The little, like, reliefs. That's what it is. That's the word I was looking for. I'm so sorry, y'all. The little like Greek reliefs of the different little characters. And I hate to use that word character because it sounds like a comic book, and that's not what I mean. But there's, it's a Greek architecture and that sort of thing. So anyway, they had to go in and redo all those. And now what they have in there when you go in, the showpiece of it is that giant gold statue that I showed you in that one picture. It's gold leafed and that sort of thing. But then in the downstairs, they do have a bunch of art. So it's a lot of, like, I think it's local artists, or I don't know if it's local. It may be Tennessee artists or something, but they have a bunch of art, I guess is the point. Different styles, there's different, there's realism, and then there's, just different genres of art. So it's kind of neat. And you wander around in there, and I'm trying to think if there was anything. And then there was some, like, little pieces, like almost museum-y type things. You could see some, like leftover things. There was a kind of cool pictures too from the fair itself, whenever it was built. So anyway, that was really neat, and it's fairly inexpensive. You can get in there for, I think it was like less than $20. It wasn't all that expensive per person, and I'm not sure it was that much. It was fairly inexpensive. So what I've done now is I've done scuffed the edges of the blue and the white, and I've pasted that down there, and then I've got that green, and that's going to be the little horizontal stripe there. I did scuff the top part of it. I didn't do the sides because I didn't want to mess up, where my pictures were going. I didn't do that at this point. I don't think I actually ever do now that I think about it. And so now I'm coming in with these little horizontal pieces. There's that little stripe, and I cut it a little longer than I knew I was going to show, which is okay. I just wanted to give the little wood piece a little bit of something to stick to, basically, was the point. I really love that wood grain, and it's funny when you have so much paper and everything, you kind of forget things you have, and that is the prettiest little wood grain. So I'm going to have to make another layout out of that collection now that I've discovered it again. But I'm going to go ahead and scuff the edges of these as well. And again, it's just to give it that texture. And I'm going to find just the right stripe to glue that down on. I started to use my tape gun on some of this, but I looked over at the tape gun and realized I was running low on adhesive, and I really didn't want to have to turn around and change it during this layout because I'm already getting this up later than I like. I like to make sure my Instagram and my YouTube is updated like first thing in the morning, just so I don't have to think about it later, because if I have to think about it later, I'm most likely going to forget. That kind of happened the other day, if I'm honest. There was a post, I didn't make it in the morning, and then I almost forgot. And it was like nighttime. I'm like, oh my God, I almost forgot. And I don't want my Instagram feed messed up by missing a day. So anyways, I've gone ahead and pasted that I used double-sided tape on the wood grain on top of the little stripe paper there. And now I'm taking the little 2x2s, and the sketch does show that they're matted, which they kind of needed to be matted anyway, in my opinion. So it worked out well that it went along with the sketch. And I matted it with the green first and then on the blue, because in this case, if I'd put the green at the bottom, it would have been touching the other green. We don't want that. So I'm just mounting these two little photos here. And then I'm going to put... I'll put the right one, which is my daughter, underneath that Parthenon. That's, again, the whole point is to show the scale. I'm going to end up putting that on foam. So right now I'm just still finishing up the little mats. And those are ended up being I think it's 2 1/8 and then 2 1/4 or something like that. So they're just kind of skinny little mats. Now, I've got on that wax paper up there, I've gone ahead also and got my title. I do have to use these blue letters that I'll end up having to glue those down. So toward the end, I'm not going to get there yet because it'll just ruin the surprise. So I'm just going to paste these 2x2s down first. I end up kind of adjusting them a little bit because I don't want to cover up on the right photo, that very far right photo where you see the Parthenon through the trees. Where I kind of have these 2x2s right now, it ends up covering up a little bit of the Parthenon. I really don't want that. So I'm going to end up shifting those down just a hair. And honestly, in the sketch, it doesn't really show anything between the two photos there where that little gap is. I'm sure that still allows some creativity there. So I end up, in a minute, I'm going to put a little journaling deal in there. Now, when I take my pictures and all that, I have yet to journal because, frankly, again, I'm trying to get this video done and I want to get it done. And I didn't want to sit there and have to journal all that. It's not a lot. It's just a little bit. But still, I didn't want to spend the time on it before I took the pictures. So it's not in the pictures. But I was basically going to just talk about, it was our last stop of our trip. This was actually the day we left. And we had enough time in the morning to go do something. So this is what we decided to do. My husband was really excited. He's a bit of a history buff. He enjoys looking at old stuff. And so this was a good little visit. And there was a nice park. It was kind of cold, of course, because it's December, but it's not terrible because it's Nashville. So it's not all that cold. So we wandered around the park. There was some statues and it's actually some interesting stuff about women's suffrage in there as well. And I have a picture of a statue that I'm going to end up doing a page about, which was kind of cool. But I did a Nashville Parthenon visit, and then I do have on my wax paper over there, I have a bunch of little stickers and embellishments, and I don't end up using them all. Of course, many times you pull stuff out and you end up not using it because it doesn't fit where you think it's going to go or whatever. But for the moment, I'm not gluing these letters down right this moment. I'm really just looking more for spacing because it'll take me a minute to glue them all down, and I didn't want to waste the time while I'm recording. So in the end, I'll end up stopping recording to glue stuff down. But this is what I end up with was the Nashville Parthenon visit. And then this is where I'm like, okay, this looks pretty good. Now I can start getting into my stickers. I see that little arrow there. I start to stick it there, but it gets a little bit lost on the wood. So I'll find a different arrow in a minute. I do end up using it over there, but in a little bit different way. So it's a little more visible. And this one, I'm just building up a little cluster of stickers. It's got, oh my gosh, I can't even remember what that says on that sticker now. Something about the past or memories or something. And then one of them said documented. And then that little thing there says, golly, I just made this layout. Well, I can't remember what it says. It's a little phrase that I thought went with the title. Now I can't remember what it says. Something about remembering the past, but oh well. And then there's that clock. I just kind of built out a little bit of circular elements because there's so much squareness and just like lines. So I took and did a few little circle-y things. The collection actually has these little, I don't know if they're meant to be buttons or if they're meant to be drawer handles or some such. I don't even really know. They look kind of like buttons, like maybe antique buttons. There's some round, what am I checking? Oh, my watch. There's some round circular things. There's a little journaling spot. Well, actually, that's not the one I use, but it's real similarly styled. I think that's the one I end up using. I'm just going to end up writing on there, like I said, the date and, where we were and that sort of thing. I do scuff the edges of it because I want it to be a little bit more interesting. So I set that aside for the moment because actually I did that and then I wasn't sure, and then I'll come back and I will do it. But here's where I'm finding these little, there's the other arrow. I do move it to there, and then I'm going to end up, toward the end, I'm going to pop that more, I don't know what color. I guess it's kind of orangey colored or whatever. I'm going to end up, it's not orange. It's more like a peach maybe. It was so close in tone to the wood, I didn't want it to be right on top of it. So I ended up popping that up on some foam. So I think that might be the journaling spot I leave there. I'm just looking to see, is there anything else that looks better there? And I decide no. So I scuff the edges of it. I don't glue it down just quite yet, but I will in a moment. And I actually even contemplated putting it on foam, and I thought no, because I ended up putting a couple little circular things on there, and I popped one of the circles up on foam. So I'm just finishing up the scuffing. That's what I'm trying to say. So actually, I'm kind of looking at this Wikipedia here, and I guess it says lower level has 63 paintings by 19th and 20th century. I thought they changed those out fairly regularly, to be honest with you. I don't remember being there forever, but so that gold statue, again, you can kind of see it in that left-hand tiny photo. And I have more pictures, so I'll probably do another page about her. But it's the statue of Athena, and she's been like, she's she's got a, it's funny because there's actually this tiny, well, you think it's tiny. It's the statue of Nike, or Victory it's like a little cherub or something, and it's in her palm. And that statue is 6 feet tall. I actually have a picture of my daughter standing next to the little like measuring thing to show how tall he is. And she's almost as tall as that 6 foot statue. But when you look up at that thing, it looks tiny up in her hand. Okay, so now I'm looking, she's actually 42 feet tall. Y'all, that's like 4 stories. That's crazy. But she's ginormous, but it's really cool because it is covered in gold gilt. It says gold leaf rather. It says it's covered in more than 8 pounds of gold leaf. So it's kind of interesting. So here's where I'm putting the foam behind the arrows, or the arrow rather, just this little arrow. This actually turned out to be kind of easy. I mean, it wasn't, initially, like I said, when I saw that sketch initially, I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to do? I literally opened that up this morning. And I thought, how am I going to get that done in a morning? I can't do that in a morning. And then I thought to myself, actually, before I saw any videos of anybody else's, I thought, I'm just going to do the left side. I don't have enough photos. I don't have time. I cannot get that done on that right-hand side. Now, that being said, I will tell you, I watched Ronnie Sue's video at the gym this morning, and she made it look kind of easy. And I thought, oh my gosh, that could have been done. I could have done that. But at that point, I had already decided that this was the setup, because I had done the little intro before I went to the gym. And I go, no, I'm just sticking with my original plan. So if you want to see it done as a 2-pager, go check out Ronnie Sue's video. That being said, there's a ton of people doing it. Just do the hashtag 30DSCBL9, and you can find tons of videos, and Instagram for that matter, of people that are playing along. I kind of missed the official cutoff, I guess, for getting into the specials group to have your link shared. I kind of missed that. Unfortunately, I didn't get into the preview group until about 2 days before it started. By then, it was too late to get on the list. So I was not privy to that, but that's okay. If I'm honest, it's really more about the fun of doing the sketches and everything anyway. And I'm kind of trusting if I'm supposed to be found by somebody, they'll find me. I'm not taking it too terribly seriously. So I hope y'all don't either. I'm not monetized or anything at this point. So for me, this is just pure D fun. So I figure, if I miss a list, it's all right. I'll do the best I can, right? Okay, so here's where I am. What am I doing? Oh, I pulled out the little batch. Okay, so there was kind of this little bag of like buttons and sequins and stuff. I kind of imagine it's intended for pocket pages, or not pocket pages, shaker boxes. Why did I say pocket pages? That's not even close to right. Shaker boxes. But I decided just to kind of put them a little here and a little there. I wouldn't mind making a little shaker box. I may still do something like that on layout too. But this is I'm just kind of setting them. And I'm going to cut away before. I'm just setting them for the moment. I'm not going to make y'all painfully watch me glue these things down, because I still need to glue down them letters too. So in a minute, I'll cut away so I can go off and glue. Look at that. I got little tiny sequins stuck to my hand. I couldn't find them. And truthfully, I go pick them up later to set them back down somewhere, and I can't. They flip out of my pinchers. So, oh well, they're not meant to be used. So anyways, I'm just kind of setting these little buttons and sequins and little beads and things like that where I think they should go. And I actually like how this looks. Now, I will also, in a second, you'll see me, I'm going to cut away again after I've glued everything. But you can see that on the paper where there was printed like white splatters. So in a minute, I'm going to go off and get my Mr. Huey's opaque white. That's, again, my favorite. And I'm going to end up adding and enhancing those existing kind of fake splatters. So here's where I got the Huey's, and I cleaned up a little bit too, so you can see that. But I'm just going to enhance the little sprinkles that are already there, just because I think it looks neat. And that's going to be all that I do to this layout. So I'll slow it down just a second so you can see it. It wasn't as bad as I was scared about. It's not as bad as I was scared about. I thought it would take me a lot longer, so I was really happy. So anyway, here you go. Here's the close-up view there. There's my little stickers. And I hope you guys are doing all right. I hope the weather's treating you right wherever you are. These are the close-ups, and pray for me. I'm going to kind of try to keep on going here. Let's try to get day 12. Talk soon. Bye-bye.